And we're back for our daily MLB Best Bets here on the channel for June 21st. It is a Saturday. We've got all 30 teams playing today in Major League Baseball. And again, I'll get this right out the way. Different setup today. We're going to be in a different setup for the next 2 days. I am in Los Angeles. I got to watch the Nationals lose last night. More on that at the end of the video. Regardless, though, we've got our 5 best bets for this Saturday, June 21st slate of baseball. And folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily MLB Best Bets here on the channel. Down in the description down below is our game number 7 predictions of the NBA Finals in Oklahoma City between the Pacers and the Thunder. Go make sure to check that out. Again, linked in the description down below. As you're watching this right now, in a couple hours, UFC Azerbaijan over in Baku with Khalil Roundtree Jr. and Jamal Hill in the main event. That card again is starting in just a couple hours, so make sure to check out that video that is linked in the description down below. Over on Greedo Plays MMA, we are less than 1,000 or less than 100 subscribers away from 1,000 over there, so let's make that happen as soon as possible. Okay, on to the first of our 5 best bets. I will put timestamps, hopefully I remember, in the description down below, so you can skip to whatever best bet you want for today. I know, again, it's been rough sailing as of late, and I apologize for that. Okay, it's been a bad week and a half. I know. We got to turn around eventually. I think we're going to turn around today, and we're starting with the turnaround with the Detroit Tigers, okay? My goodness, was I disappointed yesterday, okay? Our rule of thumb with the Detroit Tigers, and I'm going to stick by this, you get this team close to plus money or close to even money, you take this baseball team. And that's exactly what I'm doing today. I'm taking the Detroit Tigers to go out there and go win in Tampa. I know yesterday they lost 14-8. It was a shootout. I knew that game was doomed from the start, I'm not going to lie, when Jack Flaherty went in there and threw up an absolute stinker in the first inning, gave up 4 runs. You know, Riley Green got us back in the game early in the third, but then obviously in the bottom half of the third inning, Tampa responded and scored 4 runs in their own right. So we're looking at, the first 3 innings of that game being over, and Tampa's up 8-3. Ultimately, the Rays win the game 14-8. Detroit kind of put up a fight. I'm not discouraged by it, honestly. Again, it sucks. It is what it is. They let Shane Baz go 5 1/3 on them, and he did a decent job pitching, of course, against the best team in the American League. However, I still believe, again, Detroit is the best team in the AL. And this is a team that has a record that they're 19 games over 500. They're 48-29. We fully expect them to be okay. And what are the odds this team now loses 3 consecutive games? If you remember, they lost the last game of that 3-game set against the Pittsburgh Pirates, obviously on Paul Skeens' bump day. They lost yesterday to Tampa. What are the odds Detroit drops 3 in a row? I think fairly low. The problem is, again, for Detroit, and the reason why they are dogs in this spot is A, the way that Tampa Bay has been playing, and B, the pitching matchup today. Going for the Detroit Tigers will be the righty out of Lithia Springs, Georgia. That's going to be Sawyer Gibson Long. 3.97 ERA in the season. He's not going to go deep into games. He is technically a starting pitcher, but he kind of just functions as an opener for them because he's not going to go all that deep. In his 3 starts so far this season, he hasn't seen a 5th inning yet, or past the 5th inning. That's not the greatest. 3.97 ERA. We can expect, honestly, Sawyer Gibson Long to hopefully give us 4 innings of maybe 1-run baseball. That would probably be best case scenario. I understand at this, field in Tampa, obviously not the Trot, but the one that they're playing out for the season, it is kind of easy to hit the ball out. We've seen a lot of shootouts being played already this year in Tampa. I just need Sawyer Gibson Long to kind of keep it under control. And then pitching for the Rays is going to be Ryan Pepiot. I understand Pepiot's been great this season, coming off his best start of the year in his last start last Monday against the Baltimore Orioles. 8 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 11 Ks. Yeah, Pepiot was phenomenal. But I still look at this Detroit lineup and I say, all right, there's so many guys who can hurt you. I don't care how good Pepiot looked in his last start. I look at a guy like, Riley Green, who came through yesterday with a 3-run blast. Hell, Riley Green went 3 for 3 in that game with 4 RBI and 2 home runs, right? I mean, a guy like that who's going to be an all-star game starter. You have guys up and down the lineup who are going to come through and deliver. And again, Detroit's too good for me personally to lose 3 consecutive games, okay? They're going to turn it around. This is a very good bullpen. And again, I don't think it really matters too much about what Sawyer Gibson Long does for us. We just need him to be somewhat decent early in the start, and I think he is going to come through for us. Again, Pepiot, good arm. He's been really good as of late. Struggled a little bit to start the month of June, but I mean, you look at his last 2 months, after a rough April where he had a 4.82 ERA, month of May, 2.25, month of June, 2.75, right? Pepiot's been good, right? Just like some of these other pitchers, obviously in the Tampa pitching staff, like a Lytle, who I know struggled a little bit in his last start, and Drew Rasmussen, who struggled a little bit as well. But Tampa's got guys. There's a reason, again, there's no fluke that the Rays are 42-34, and that, Tampa Bay Rays teams always find ways to make the playoffs or just be be competitive, even with their payroll and really just the talent that they have. It is impressive, I'm not going to lie. But again, the main thing I look at in this game is Detroit's a team that's 19 over. Yeah, they lost back-to-back games, but the lineup's too good to lose 3 in a row. Of course, with the righty and Pepio on the mound, you're going to see a combination of lefties. You're going to see the Colt Keats of the world, obviously. You're going to see Kerry Carpenter. Riley Green obviously plays every single day, but you're going to get those guys at Parker Meadows, who I know has struggled early this season, with the combination of the rights who still play as well. Obviously, the Gleyber Torres, the Javier Baez's of the world. And honestly, Detroit has played a super sloppy game early. I mean, they shot themselves so quickly in the foot in that game yesterday against Tampa Bay. Multiple errors. Again, yes, Jack Flaherty gave up runs, but some of those innings on the first inning really should have been only a 3-run inning for Tampa. It turns into a 4-run inning. That third inning goes from a 2 to a 4-run inning from Tampa Bay, right? If Detroit just cleans it up and doesn't play as sloppy, I think they are going to win the second game of this 3-game set. It is the earliest game of the day. Got to get on the right track. I mean, yesterday we just got dismantled early with that Seattle Mariners comeback at Wrigley Field. I think we kick off the day with a victory. Give me the Detroit Tigers to go to Tampa, Florida, and beat the Tampa Bay Rays. Let's move on to our second best bet of the video. It is a matchup over in the Bronx with the New York Yankees and the Baltimore Orioles. I'm going Gunnar Henderson over 1.5 total bases in this game. I don't know if we've played Gunnar Henderson all year long. I mean, what I can say about Gunnar Henderson, however, is that he's an elite player in the sport. He's a top 10 player in the sport when he is at his best. And Gunnar is starting to get back to his best. I mean, we have been progressively talking about Gunnar Henderson with the Baltimore Orioles whenever they are involved in the video. And yes, it has been a build-up for a while now for Gunnar. Obviously, we've mentioned his season before, but this is the guy who got injured prior to the start of the regular season, or prior to the start of spring training. Did not get a spring, got immediately inserted back in the lineup. About 3 weeks into the regular season, the guy never really got to get going. So his first month of his regular season was essentially just his spring training. Henderson is back. The average, we saw it down to like the 220s to the 240s at times. Well, no, Henderson's smoking the baseball now. He's batting 285, and I think people forget also Gunnar Henderson's 23. He's about to turn 24 in about a week, but he's still a young star. He's still one of the best players in all of the game, and he is just that young. So Henderson, again, batting 285, 8 home runs, 23 RBI, OPS at about 800. But again, this is a guy who really just had a slow start to the year. He's come on as of late. I mean, when we look at Gunnar's, last 8 games, or really, he's on quite a bit of a hitting streak at this point. I believe he's gotten a hit in every single game since June 7th or June 6th. Henderson is an on-base machine at this point. He gets on pretty much every single game he plays. Yesterday, 1 for 1 against the New York Yankees, obviously a limited spot, but 1 for 1 with an RBI. We're going to get Gunnar Henderson, obviously, with multiple ABs today. Pitcher tonight for the New York Yankees is going to be Clark Schmidt. We've talked about Schmidt quite a bit on the season as well. I mean, not a bad pitcher at all, but a guy who I think is somewhat hittable, especially the matchup given, again, righty-lefty for Gunnar. I think we're going to be okay in that spot. But again, look at what Gunnar Henderson's done recently. I mean, this is honestly one of the hottest hitters in baseball. I think Baltimore's resurgence recently, and I get it, they're still like 11 games under 500. Hell, they're better than my favorite team. They're 9 games under. That's crazy. No, yeah, they're doing much better than the other team in the DMV after I said the Nationals own the Baltimore Orioles. Yeah, great. Anyways, right, Gunnar, essentially, the Orioles' resurgence has been because of Gunnar Henderson. And obviously, that's just not just him. But when Gunnar's playing well, then everyone else around him is playing well. I understand there is still a problem with Adley Rutschman. He has not been himself this season. Colton Cowser, coming off an injury, has not been himself this season. But Jackson Holliday, we've talked about before, he's smacking the label off the baseball right now. Ryan O'Hearn is having a really good season as well. I mean, there are guys in the Baltimore lineup that are keeping them together. We saw, again, their high-scoring games a couple weekends ago, or last weekend, against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And again, I think a lot of credit has to be given to Gunnar Henderson. When he's on, the rest of the team kind of just rallies around him. And Henderson now batting 285. He's well on his way to getting back in the 300s, let's just be honest. And I like the matchup against Clark Schmidt. I really do. I think he's the second highest, second best odds to go over 1.5 total bases today, only behind, obviously, Aaron Judge. And he should be. He should be. Because Gunnar has been an on-base machine. He's been a hit machine. Again, the last game where Gunnar Henderson did not get a hit, you have to date back to, June 6th against the A's, but that was a pinch hitting spot. So really, the last time Gunnar Henderson played a full game was back on, and didn't get a hit, was on June 4th in Seattle against the Mariners. Again, that's a lot of baseball. That's 2.5 weeks of just base knocks for Gunnar Henderson. I'm perfectly fine with this. Obviously, again, with the over 1.5 total bases, we get multiple pathways to this. You can either obviously get the double, you can get the 2 singles, home run, triple obviously does it for us as well. So an extra base knock or 2 singles. I think the easiest path for Gunnar, again, is a knock in the gap. The power numbers have been down, I'm not going to lie. I mean, we talk about this long hitting streak for Gunnar Henderson. He's hit, what, 1 home run in this entire streak? That's all the way back on June 5th in Seattle. So it really hasn't been a power outburst out of Gunnar, but it's been getting on base via walks, getting on base, obviously, with hits and whatnot, and just timely and clutch hitting, obviously, with RBI as well. I think Gunnar, again, he's going to continue to put the ball in play in this game. I think he's going to be able to make solid contact against Clark Schmidt, and I do believe he's going to go over the 1.5 total base tally here. Personally, I think it's going to be probably with 2 singles. As he has done that quite a bit recently. I mean, a double again would do it for us as well. It's just the extra base stuff out of Gunnar Henderson, for as good as he's been playing, it hasn't entirely been there. So I hope it comes today, obviously, but I do think Gunnar multiple hits will get it done for us. I'm going over 1.5 total bases for Gunnar Henderson. Again, there are multiple ways that this can happen for us. Give me Gunnar on the over 1.5. That is priced at about -115 right now, so I'm going to take it. For reference, earlier, the Detroit Tigers money line, they were underdogs yesterday, or today. They're +110. So better odds today for the Tigers than we did get yesterday. Anyways, let's go on to our third best bet of the video. I mean, you know, if there was a positive we could take away from yesterday, it was that our Nerfy finally hit, okay? Some nasty stuff in that Brewers-Twins game yesterday. I'm not going to go back to it because the Nerfy today is at Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida, between the Atlanta Braves and the Miami Marlins. Pitching matchup tonight, it will be Grant Holmes going for Atlanta as Yuri Perez will be starting for the Fish. I really like these two guys, especially I like the guy pitching, obviously, for Miami. I think Grant Holmes is serviceable enough. I know, again, there is going to be a lot of talk and a lot of hype around Grant Holmes because of his last start against the Colorado Rockies, albeit it's a game that the Braves ultimately lose 10-1, and I don't think that's Grant Holmes' fault. But Grant Holmes, guys, he gets 19 outs in that start against the Colorado Rockies last Sunday. 15 of them were strikeouts. It's insane, right? He gives up 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 home run, and 2 walks. But it's a crazy start out of Grant Holmes. And sure, at the same time, he did give up 3 hits to the Colorado Rockies. But guys, the Rockies are hot right now, right? They won 3 of 4 against the Washington Nationals, which I don't know if that's a crazy feat. But, you know, they did score 8 runs yesterday against the D-backs. They didn't win, but Colorado's a hot hitting team right now. If you're going to beat the Colorado Rockies, you got to score in their starters. And that's what the Washington Nationals found out. The Diamondbacks obviously overcame that yesterday in their victory over Colorado. But ultimately, that's why Grant Holmes' team did not pick up the win in his last start last Sunday. On the flip side, Yuri Perez goes for the Miami Marlins. Yuri Perez is nasty. I don't care what anybody says. His first start of the season is why his ERA is inflated right now, and Yuri Perez is still, you know, building back up. I'll say it's I guess I'll reference Shohei a little bit here to a different extent. Yuri Perez started to ramp up with a 3-inning start against the Pittsburgh Pirates on June 9th. He goes 3 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs. Really an inning that could have been avoided. Dealt with some control issues in that start, and then Brian Reynolds flew a triple into left center field, ultimately scoring 3 runs, and then Reynolds got driven in as well. Anyways, it was pretty much just a 1 bad inning in that 3-inning start that cost Perez his ERA. I mean, his ERA immediately shoots up to 12. His next start against the Washington Nationals, and say what you want, it's the Nationals. Yuri Perez in that start goes 4 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. That's playable. It is. Again, the Nats, for as bad as they can be, and we'll get to Washington at the end of the video, the Nationals scored 5 runs off the Los Angeles Dodgers yesterday, and I get it, Unk was pitching Clayton Kershaw and his 88-mile-an-hour fastball, but, you know, if you can hold the Nats to 1 run in 4 innings like hell Clayton Kershaw did last night, you're going to put your team in a really good position to win. That's what Yuri Perez did. So anyways, we look at the matchups today. Obviously, Grant Holmes versus that Marlins lineup and Yuri Perez versus the Braves lineup. Yesterday was a 6-2 victory for the Miami Marlins. We're playing some really good baseball right now. They're catching right up to the Washington Nationals with their record. Are you kidding me? My God. But Grant Holmes, the first 3 guys he's likely going to see, we can just assume we're going to see Xavier Edwards in the leadoff spot, the switch hitter. Jesus Sanchez probably will stay on the 2, and I guess they're going to go Otto Lopez in the 3 over Agustin Ramirez. I personally think Ramirez is the better player. I mean, it's rare that you don't see Agustin Ramirez blast the baseball. I mean, I don't want to compare him to James Wood because they're nothing similar in size or in build, but just the way that both those guys swing the bats, I mean, exit velo is off the charts with Agustin Ramirez. Personally, I would bat him over Otto Lopez. And honestly, Dane Myers, I believe, I mean, every time I've watched Dane Myers this season, he's been phenomenal for Miami. He's batting .324, and he's batting in the 6th spot right now for the Marlins. But anyways, the matchups we're going to see for Grant Holmes, Xavier Edwards, Jesus Sanchez, Otto Lopez, Agustin Ramirez. a guy that's got good put-away stuff, like Grant Holmes does, will see a lot of success against Miami, I truly believe. Because guys like Agustin Ramirez, if they hit the ball, it's danger, but they're not going to fight off pitches all that well. They're not going to stay in counts. So I think it's a decent look here for Grant Holmes, especially considering his last start where he had 15 strikeouts in just 6 1/3 innings. Now on the flip side, Yuri Perez, I'm more than confident in Perez. Now again, the one scare here, or just really in general with this, I think Grant Holmes is going to go out and get 3 outs of the Miami Marlins. I get it, he's on the road. It's not like this is some, raucous crowd, obviously, in Miami, Florida. The more difficult part of the play, I do believe, is in the top of the first inning with Yuri Perez. And that's not really Perez's fault. That's just the guys, obviously, in the Braves lineup. I'm talking about Ronald Acuna Jr., who, since his injury, is still on fire. His OBP is 500, which, that's insane. I mean, legitimately, that is one of the toughest guys to bet against when you're doing nerfies. Because, again, I always tell you, play the math with these, right? And I'll reference a very good hitter, okay? Marcell Ozuna is a really good hitter. He's a guy who can take you deep. He's a problem. He bats 253. His OBP is 379. So again, even when Marcell Ozuna is at his best this season, 380 times out of 1,000 he's getting on base. That leaves you, again, 620 times. Math, yes, 620 times out of 1,000 that he's not getting on base. Ronald Acuna's OBP is essentially 500. It's 491, but we're going to round up for all intents and purposes. That's trouble, obviously. But I don't mind Yuri Perez's stuff. Righty-righty, the big hook on the slider. Perez hasn't faced off against Ronald Acuna, since what, 22? 23? 23 definitely. So yeah, I'm okay with this play. I really am. Verdugo in the 2, Austin Riley in the 3. I'm going to be honest, I'm not scared of Verdugo or Riley, especially against first inning Yuri Perez, who's going to probably be throwing fairly well early in the start, because he knows he's likely not going deep in this either. Matt Olson, Marcell Ozuna, Ozzie Albies. I mean, if we get to those guys at the bottom half of that list I just read off, we're probably in trouble. But I don't mind the first inning stuff out of Yuri Perez. Again, look at that start against Pittsburgh. He was good early, kind of unraveled as the start went on, and I don't think that's going to be a thing for Perez as we keep going in the season. I firmly believe Yuri Perez is going to be a very good starter in this league for a very long time. Obviously, this is just his 3rd start back from injury. That sidelined him for over a year. I think Perez is going to be fine. I think Grant Holmes is going to be fine. I think Holmes is going to find the way to the strikeouts. I think Yuri Perez is going to be more than okay in this spot as well. Give him the nerfy today at Lone Depot Park over in South Beach, Miami, Florida, for Grant Holmes, Yuri Perez, the Miami Marlins, and the Atlanta Braves. Let's go on to our 4th best bet of the video as we go now to, oh, by the way, the nerfy was minus 125. Our 4th best bet's our second money line of the day. Let's go to Anaheim, California for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim and the Houston Astros. I'm going with the Angels to win back-to-back over Houston. I'm fading the Astros. Now, they sold us the other day when they went to play in Sacramento. They ended up splitting with the A's at Sutter Health Park, which was just Nick Kurtz with his 2nd walk-off home run in the same series. I mean, it's crazy. Kurtz walks off the Astros on Monday, walks them off again on Thursday, and yesterday, Houston loses. Houston beats Anaheim. Excuse me, I don't know why I thought the Angels won that game. My apologies on that. But anyways, I'm taking the Angels to turn the tides here. It was a very competitive game yesterday. The big headline, and excuse me for this, I just immediately, I remembered Anaheim with the big home run that they got, obviously, the first one of the career, Christian Moore. Anaheim did tie the game up in the 7th inning. Houston ends up scoring in the top of the 10th. They ultimately win the game 3-2. It was a wild pitch. Hunter Strickland, by the way, still pitching in the big 2025, which I find amusing. Anyways, it was a home run fest yesterday in Anaheim, right? Jeremy Pena goes yard, first batter of the game. Isaac Paredes, the batter after, goes yard as well, both of which hit home runs against UC Kikuchi, who Kikuchi's been really good all year long, and he was good other than the first 2 batters of that game yesterday. I mean, past those 2 guys, Kikuchi goes 7 innings, 4 hits, 0 runs, 9 strikeouts, obviously post Pena and Paredes. Now, Anaheim got back in the game with the Joe Adell home run, who's been very good this season, man. I mean, Joe Adell's never going to pan out to what we thought he was going to be, let's just be honest. But he has proven that he is better than just a quadruple A player, right? He's a major league player. He's never going to be a superstar, but Joe Adell has found himself a role where he can start every single day. I get it, he's a 222 hitter, but you bring the power and the athleticism that guy has, he's going to find a way to stay in the lineup for the rest of his career. Let's just be honest, okay? And then you look at a guy, Christian Moore, who again hasn't given, you know, Anaheim the most, or Los Angeles the most production yet this year. Obviously, very young into his career, but only batting 182. Gets on the board yesterday with the home run. Obviously, the Angels can't cash in the bottom of the 10th. But today, I look at the pitching matchup, and I just see, okay, I think Brandon Walter is due for a bad start. Just going to be honest, I don't think Brandon Walter's that good. I think he's just been very good to start the year. The lefty out of Newcastle, Delaware, with a 1.53 ERA on the season. 3 starts against the Tampa Bay Rays, the Cleveland Guardians, and the Minnesota Twins. The Astros have actually lost 2 of the 3 starts in which Walter has gone, the only victory being his last start against the Minnesota Twins. Now, I can read you off every single start from Walter, and they're all going to sound great. 5 innings pitched against the Rays, 3 hits, 0 runs. Guardians, 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs. Minnesota, 6 2/3, 6 hits, 1 run, right? Walter's been good in pretty much every single start that he has had. I think there's got to be some regression we're going to see here, right? Because it's not like Brandon Walter, his entire career, has been some dominant guy. I mean, he did not pitch in the major leagues in 2023, but in 2024, but in 2023, this is a guy who had an ERA of 6.26. I get it, he was primarily just a reliever then, but this is not a guy who I think is going to consistently produce amazing numbers for the Houston Astros, if I'm just being honest. I know what Jose Soriano brings. I'm not going to tell you Soriano's some all-star, but I'm going to tell you Soriano's serviceable. This is a guy in his last start, and I get it, this was part of the whole Yankees couldn't score thing, but he goes 7 innings in the Bronx, only gives up 6 hits and 0 runs against one of the best lineups in baseball. His start prior to that against the Athletics, he goes 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, and 12 strikeouts as well. Jose Soriano, he does have his blow-up starts, I'm not going to lie, like his start at Fenway Park was not very good, but his start at Progressive Field in Cleveland, he gave up 4 hits, gave up 0 runs in 6 innings. So Jose Soriano at his best can be really good. The way the Astros are playing right now, they lost the last game in Sacramento, where they really left a lot of opportunity on the table, obviously. I think it's a great spot here for the Angels to get their get back, right? Yesterday, again, the Astros really relied on the long ball, and sure, the Angels did too, but I think the Angels are able to put together a full game today. Look at this lineup, man. I mean, it is much better than when they went on their big winning streak a couple months, or last month. I mean, you get Zach Neto, Nolan Shawnuel, it is his bobblehead night tomorrow as well, or today. Mike Trout still hasn't entirely figured it out, but obviously Trout's still in the lineup. You know, Taylor Ward is in there, Joe Adell, obviously. I don't know why they start Lamont Wade. Just like, if you couldn't hit for the San Francisco Giants, why do you think you can hit for the Angels? Or why do the Angels think they can just bring in Lamont Wade and Chris Taylor? Like, there's a reason they don't play for the Giants and Dodgers anymore. Anyways, though, I think this is a great spot for the Angels. Again, they're at plus money. It's plus 100 for this play. They're at home. I think Brandon Walter is due for some regression eventually. I don't think this is going to be some high-end guy for Houston. I'm just going to be honest. I think he's looked good early. Teams are going to start to figure him out. Obviously, the Angels without Ron Washington, he has stepped away due to health issues, so they have an interim manager now. Not like that really affects the game too much. But I'm taking the Angels because the Astros have not been a good road team this year. Where the Astros have excelled has been at home. They're a 17-19 road team this season. The reason that they're 12 over is because they played so well at Minute Maid Park. So I'm taking the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim here. I like what Soriano brings. I know he's consistent for the most part, and I just don't think Brandon Walter is going to have a good start on the road. So I'm going with the Angels to win the game at plus 100 here for our second money line of the day. Our final play of the day is with the Washington Nationals. Now, they lost yesterday. I was in attendance. It sucked, okay? The Nationals, we'll get to the full game breakdown in a second, but the Nationals continue to do national things. Today's plays Luis Garcia over 1.5 total bases. I don't know why Louis doesn't play every single day. I'll get that out the way right now. I like Andres Chaparro a lot, but Andres Chaparro should not be starting. I'm just going to be honest. And now, he's going to go down to AAA when Paul DeJong comes back. Initially, I was like, I don't know where DeJong fits to this team. I do know now. He's a utility guy that we're going to use, and the way that Chaparro has played, Chaparro's done nothing so far to say, okay, we need him to stay on the Major League roster, other than his first at-bat at Citi Field. When he first came back up, we have had no reason to keep Andres Chaparro on the squad. So, he'll go back down to AAA. Paul DeJong, I think, after this Dodgers series is going to come back. So expect Paul DeJong in San Diego on Tuesday. Anyways, Luis Garcia needs to play every single day. We know he's playing today because there's a righty in the mound in Dustin May. Obviously, we had no Louis yesterday until he pinch hit and delivered a huge double for the Washington Nationals. A spot where, by the way, they could have came back, but I'll get to that in a second. Kershaw went yesterday, so obviously no Louis starting. Today, it's going to be Louis starting against Dustin May. Not much history with Louis and Dustin May. 1 for 3 all time is Garcia against May with a single. We'll take that. There's no national that's actually hit better career-wise against Dustin May than what Luis Garcia Jr. has done. But I really like what we get out of Garcia, especially against right-handed pitching. Garcia's going to be put in a spot today where he's going to hit in the 3 spot behind CJ Abrams and behind James Wood. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for him. He's going to be behind again one of the best hitters in baseball, and CJ Abrams, who might be an all-star again this year, hit a home run late in the game yesterday. I think it's a great spot for Luis Garcia. I really like the way this guy's swinging it right now. Again, expect Garcia to swing at pretty much every single pitch he's given. Don't get me wrong. Like, that's just what he does. You know, when he came into the game yesterday in a pinch hit spot, the first pitch he swung at was at his feet. But then he locks in, lines one into right field. That's just what Garcia does. So I think we're okay with the spot here. Luis Garcia Jr. on the over 1.5 total bases. Lines plus 120. Garcia trying to prove a point, obviously, with the fact that, you know, we got to get this guy in the lineup every single day. All right, Ahmed Rosario needs to be DHing instead of Andres Chaparro, and Luis Garcia needs to be playing second. I don't care as a lefty on the mound. Luis Garcia is an everyday baseball player, okay? And I will die on that hill that Luis Garcia is an everyday player. The Nationals yesterday, you know, it's just... I keep saying, but yesterday was just the biggest kick in the balls ever. Like, the Nationals keep getting back into that game only to lose it. Now, the worst part of that game was obviously the Nathaniel Lowe slap shot into left field. Nats down 6-4 again. Shout out to Luis Garcia coming in a big pinch hitting spot. He should be playing every single day for this team. But Nathaniel Lowe comes up to the plate, slaps one to left field, and of all people, Michael Conforto makes a diving catch. You know, here's the thing, guys. Dodgers fans have it so easy. It's ridiculous. If my team had guys like Michael Conforto, I'm not even bitching about having Michael Conforto, but if Michael Conforto can make plays like that, it's unbelievable. Guys, I like Jacob Young, but yesterday I watched Jacob Young, you know, just miss a but a fairly manageable fly ball in center field and completely just misplay it. You know? And I got to watch Michael Conforto make diving plays to save the game for the Dodgers. Really? I mean, guys, Dodgers fans have it so easy, it's crazy. I mean, it's just, I wish Mookie Betts was my team's 4th best hitter. My team's 4th best hitter right now, hell, yesterday looked like it was Riley Adams, which again, I think hell froze over yesterday. Riley Adams hits a deep fly into left field against Clayton Kershaw. Hell, he got on base twice. He got hit by a pitch by Alex Vesia later in the game. But ultimately, right, the Nationals only get back into that game to just lose it in the end. I mean, whenever we had hope in that spot, again, in that game yesterday, in spots, Nathaniel Lowe, ball gets caught in the left field from Conforto. Hell, at the end of the game, CJ Abrams goes yard off of Tanner Scott, lefty. Ahmed Rosario comes out, scorches a ball 110 to the second baseman. It's out. Or to Mookie Betts, gets out. James Wood comes up, hits a ball 101 miles an hour off the bat, right to Ha-Seong Kim at second base. It's just the Nationals got extremely unlucky yesterday, but unfortunately for us, though, right, we lose with Mackenzie Gore on the mound, and we just fall back again, and we realize what reality really is. Again, the final takeaway from that, though, that I got was that the Nationals got unlucky. Of course we are, you know, but at the same time, look at our lineup, and it's hard to beat a team like that. And I wish my owners were willing to spend like the Los Angeles Dodgers do. I just wish so, you know? And I wish my owners, too, were so confident about their abilities building a baseball team that they would go build a basketball team as well. Imagine the learners trying to work with the Washington Wizards right now. Anyways, folks, that's going to do it for our 5 best bets here for the MLB on June 21st. If you haven't yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you did disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more daily MLB best bets. Go make sure to check out our NBA Finals predictions and our UFC Baku Azerbaijan predictions as well in the description down below. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.